Folks, in my 20 years in the league, I've never seen anything like this. What's unfolding right now is nothing short of seismic. A move so colossal it could change the entire landscape of the AFC and possibly the NFL as a whole. And I'm telling you, everything you think you know about the 2026 offseason is about to be turned upside down. I've got sources deep within the league, whispers from front offices that don't leak for just anyone, and enough intel to make your head spin. But here's the kicker. What I'm about to reveal is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a secret so big, so explosive, that it could shake the foundation of this league. Are you ready? Because what I'm about to say will blow your mind. Stick around, hit that subscribe button, smash that like. Because if you want to be in the know before the rest of the world catches on, you cannot afford to miss what's coming. This is insider info you won't hear anywhere else, and it's all happening right now, behind closed doors, in the shadows of the NFL's biggest power plays. Trust me, you're about to witness something historic. Now let's get straight to the core of what's happening with the Baltimore Ravens. This isn't just another coaching change or a typical offseason rumor. This is a full-blown, high-stakes chess game that's been set in motion for months, and it's reaching a boiling point. The Ravens, a franchise built on a foundation of grit, defense, and innovative quarterback play, have just made a seismic move that signals much more than a simple coaching change. I'm talking about a trade so audacious, so unprecedented, that it will redefine the quarterback market in 2026 and could set the stage for a blockbuster saga that's been brewing behind the scenes for years. Let me break down what's wrong with Baltimore, what they need, and why this move, if it goes down, will be the most talked-about NFL story of the decade. The Ravens, under Jesse Minter, are poised for a renaissance. But in order to truly elevate this team into Super Bowl contention again, they need more than just a good coach. They need a game-changer at quarterback. Lamar Jackson has had flashes of brilliance, but inconsistency, injury issues, and playoff underperformance have left the fanbase hungry for more. The defense is solid but aging, and the offensive line has struggled to sustain consistency. The Ravens know deep down that the window with Lamar, while still open, is limited if they want to win now. Enter the star, a player who has been the subject of whispers, rumors, and silent admiration across the league, Dak Prescott. Yes, Dak Prescott, the former Cowboys quarterback, a player whose name has long been associated with elite arm talent, mobility, and leadership, but also with questions about how far he can take a team in the playoffs. Well, folks, that narrative is about to change. And everything points to one massive, game-changing possibility. The Baltimore Ravens are secretly preparing to make a daring move for Prescott, and I've got the intel to back it up. But before I get into the mechanics of the possible trade, let's peel back the layers of this story. Because trust me, what's happening behind closed doors is far beyond just a simple transaction. This is about a franchise rewriting its future, about a team that's willing to make waves to finally claim its rightful spot at the top of the AFC. The whispers of this deal have been circulating in league circles for months, but now, with the Ravens, coaching change, and the recent seismic shift at quarterback, the pieces are falling into place. Why Dak Prescott? Because, think about it, he's in the prime of his career, still only 32, with a contract that, for all its record-breaking numbers, remains tradable in a league that values elite quarterback talent above all else. Prescott's strengths align perfectly with what Baltimore needs. A pocket passer with mobility, a leader who can elevate the entire offense, and a guy with a chip on his shoulder after a frustrating 2025 season that saw his team fall short again. Prescott's advanced metrics, a higher-than-average completion percentage, an impressive 69.5% in 2023, and an NFL-leading 36 touchdowns, make him a perfect fit for a team looking to push all its chips in for a Super Bowl run. But let's get to the juicy part. Why all this talk about Prescott now, and how could a trade actually happen? That's where things get really interesting. The Cowboys are in a tricky spot. After signing Prescott to a historic $240 million extension in 2024, they're locked into a scenario that complicates any quick fix. They're facing a cap crunch, and with the team's recent struggles, especially in close games, a familiar problem that's haunted Dallas for years, they might be open to listening to offers. Rumors have been swirling that Dallas would consider a significant package for Prescott if the right offer came along, especially from a team with a clear window and a desire for immediate upgrade. So, how could this trade unfold? Well, consider this. The Ravens have accumulated assets, including high draft picks, promising young players, and salary cap flexibility, despite the current cap chaos. They could package multiple first-round picks, a high-value young player or two, and perhaps a veteran to sweeten the deal. The Cowboys would receive a combination of draft capital and players that could help them rebuild quickly after a disappointing season. This isn't just a one-for-one swap. It's a blockbuster package that would blow up the league's trade records. The key point here is how the logistics could work within the salary cap. Prescott's current contract, with its $231 million guaranteed over 4 years, is hefty but not impossible to absorb, especially if Dallas is motivated to move on. The Ravens, with their cap space, could negotiate a restructuring that minimizes immediate hit, spreading out some of Prescott's guarantees or adding incentives. Meanwhile, Dallas might include future draft picks or even a contractual renegotiation to ease the cap hit, ensuring the trade is viable. Now, what about the fit? Why would Dak Prescott be the perfect quarterback for Baltimore under Jesse Minter? Historically, Minter's defenses have prioritized versatility, disciplined pass coverage, and aggressive front seven play. But with a quarterback who can extend plays and make decisive throws, the entire system could elevate. Prescott's ability to throw on the run, hit tight windows, and execute play-action schemes fits seamlessly with Baltimore's offense, which has always thrived on balance, run, pass, and unpredictable play calling. In terms of scheme fit, Prescott would bring a dual-threat element that the Ravens desperately need to diversify their offense. With Lamar Jackson's future uncertain and the team's recent struggles to develop a consistent passing attack, Prescott's experience and poise under pressure could ignite the offense. The Ravens' offensive line, which has shown flashes of improvement but still needs reinforcements, would benefit from Prescott's decision-making skills and leadership. But the biggest question, what's the fallout? Because, let's be honest, the NFL is a league of egos and networks of influence. If this trade goes down, it wouldn't just shake up Baltimore and Dallas. It would send shockwaves through the entire league. Rivals would panic, other teams would scramble to make countermoves, and the quarterback market as we know it would explode. The ramifications are staggering. Now let's get into the details of how this could actually happen. First, the timeline sources within the league suggest that negotiations could heat up as early as late January, once the franchise tags and off-season planning begin to take shape. Dallas, sitting at a crossroads after back-to-back playoff misses, could be convinced by a compelling package from Baltimore, especially if they get early draft picks and a young star or two in return. On the other side, Baltimore's front office is eyeing Prescott not just as a short-term fix, but as a foundational piece to dominate the AFC for the next 5 years. And what about the immediate impact? Well, Prescott in Baltimore would instantly elevate the team's standing. Their offense would become one of the league's most dynamic, with a quarterback who can operate the offense from the pocket, but also make magic outside the pocket, much like Lamar, but with a more refined passing skill set. He'd complement the Ravens' existing weapons and, most importantly, provide stability at the position that Baltimore has desperately lacked since Lamar Jackson's injuries and inconsistent play. The other ripple. The AFC would turn into a battleground of quarterbacks. Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, now Prescott. That's a league-changing shift. It would make Baltimore a genuine Super Bowl contender in 2026, and it would leave their rivals scrambling for answers. This isn't hyperbole. I've spoken to GMs, and trust me, everyone's watching this story unfold with bated breath. Finally, why now? Because this offseason, everything points to a strategic reset for Baltimore. The coaching change signals a desire for fresh blood, fresh ideas, and a new era. The NFL draft is looming, and the team will be examining every option, evaluating every quarterback, but the moment Prescott becomes available. That's the game changer. The stars are aligning, and I genuinely believe we're on the brink of witnessing one of the most audacious moves in NFL history. So, what should you keep your eyes on? Watch the Cowboys' moves in the coming weeks. Watch how Dallas approaches the draft, cap space, and their veteran assets. Meanwhile, in Baltimore, pay close attention to the player negotiations, the draft capital, and how quickly Minter's staff shapes up. The moment Prescott's name surfaces in rumors, and mark my words, it will, everything changes. In conclusion, folks, brace yourselves. This isn't just another rumor. It's a carefully crafted chess move, a game of high-stakes poker that could redefine the future of the NFL. Because at the end of the day, what's at stake isn't just a player or a team. It's the narrative of an entire league, the legacy of two franchises, and a golden opportunity for a quarterback to finally elevate his legacy. And trust me, when this deal finally drops, history will remember it as the night the NFL's future was forever altered. Stay tuned.